Shine Campus, welcome to our Sunday Strength. Answer the call. I want you to do what's required to go inside out. And today we're going to be talking about why we're hesitating. What makes you hesitate a little bit to do the things that you need? We always talk about, at least on my channel and in our Facebook group, we always talk about being willing to go inside out, meaning like I'm not going to stare at what other people are doing to decide how I'm going to feel and experience life. Instead, I'm going to focus on the things that I have to do and really build that up. It's a hard switch over. It's really challenging for us to do that. And I think there are tons of reasons. I'll try to sum up a few today, but there's tons of reasons that you're not willing to do that. But that's constantly the call out to everybody, is for you guys to figure out that switch over in your mind. If your money's not right, how come my money's not right? It's because of me. If my relationship's right or not right, how come it's not right? It's because of me, right? What stops us from going out and seeing the world this way and being willing to do things in this way and really grow that? For one thing, I know the world is not built that way, and so it's not that easy. And there's always a hesitation on the idea of switching it over. But one of the first things that I think that I watch people kind of go through is this concept of thinking that, well, everybody else doesn't do it, right? And so if everybody else isn't doing it, then it might not make sense for me to do. And I need you to challenge that concept, because the results of your life and the results of the situations that you want to change are the most important pieces. Like, whatever I'm doing in this moment's creating this situation, this feeling, this experience that I'm having. And there are people in your hard situation, and this might not be easy for you to hear, but there are people in your hard situation that feel differently than you do. Or there are people in your hard situation that have had different outcomes than what you do. What's the difference? Well, depending on the scenario, it could switch up on what that is. But the important part is not that there's somebody else out there that's doing it. What the important part is that it's available, right? And so we need to understand that it's not a matter of what everybody else is doing. It's more knowing that it's available for us to have a different experience than what we're having in any area or capacity of our life. The second thing that I think people run into a lot of times is anything that it takes to get to the parts about going inside out, they feel like they're too good for, right? Like, there's simple things that we need to be doing in our lives. And so, like, for me, and yours might be different, but for me, it's prayer, right? It might be journaling. It might be reading or learning. Like, it's those kinds of things that are maybe people feel like I don't have time for it, or I'm too good for it, or somehow those aren't things that I need to be doing, right? Or saying thank you to other people, or being able to acknowledge other people, all those things that will mean goodness in your body. And I'm just giving you lists of things that maybe I do, but for you, you'll have your own that you need to be doing that would help you get to a different spot and specifically help you to go inside out. But you're hesitating on doing them because you think that you're too good to do that situation, right? And so it might seem like a hard thing for me to say that you think you're too good, but it's a simple little concept in our mind that we think less about as a judgment in our mind, and just more about we just move differently. I'm just above that scenario. I don't need to do that scenario, right? The third thing is we get really caught up on what we'll experience, right? So a lot of times we worry about, how will I experience this scenario? So I'm going to hesitate to this because I don't know what the outcome will be, right? And so we get passive about it. We don't really go into it because we don't know how other people will perceive us. We don't know what our experience will be. We don't know how we're going to perceive ourselves when we don't get the thing or whenever we do have the thing. And so we really kind of take a hesitant approach, right? We end up being too shy in those moments to even go towards what it is that we need to go towards. And if we're to answer the call and go inside out, we're going to have to drop all of those scenarios. Well, what are the things that would help us to drop all those? Maybe the first one is for you to really analyze and check out your belief system. And the harshest thing about this is that I mean, there's certain things that are connected to your past and to your history and to your family that hold you together or have held you together. They don't really hold you together now, have held you together. And so you kind of want to stick with all those beliefs that you had. You might not, you don't even really want to check it out, but it's time to start analyzing it. It's time to start seeing what beliefs do I need to get me to a different space in my life. I don't like this area of my life specifically. How do I change it? Right. And a lot of times, well, all the time, it's going to be an inside out process. It's going to get you to that change. So we need to be able to analyze what our beliefs are and start dropping the ones that aren't useful and start trying to learn what the truth actually is. And this is kind of the cool thing. You could have inside of your belief system things that are true. And if they're true, they'll always work. Right? If they're true, they'll always work. They won't sometimes work. Like an example of sometimes work is like absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? That's something that doesn't always work. So in your mindset, if you thought like if I just give space, then that's going to make me it's going to make me happier. Because there's another one that says out of sight, out of mind, right? So if one was true, you couldn't have the other, right? So the idea here is that there's certain beliefs that you'll have to look at, and you're looking for the ones that always stick with truth. All the rest of them can be evaluated, analyzed, and shipped out, shaped up, or do whatever you need to do with it to make it a different situation for yourself. Okay. You're looking at what you're creating in your body, what you're creating in your life, what you're creating in your relationships. That's what you're looking at. Okay. Find new accountability partners. And so, um, our circle is where we are right now, right? Our circle is this space right now. And there's nothing wrong with our circle. Our circle just isn't over there, right? So we need to really kind of assess, what do I need to add into my life? Who do I need to add into my life? And I'm putting accountability partners. It might not always be a physical person. It might be something that you pick up and start reading and turn into your accountability partner, right? For some people, one of the amazing accountability partners they might have is God, right? They might constantly be checking in and really growing that relationship. And that might be a helpful accountability partner. But you grow it how you need to grow it. The most important part is you start being willing to go inside out. You don't hesitate on going inside out, right? So that's what we're trying to grow here. Start being influenced in the direction you want to be actually in. And so all the things that you're reading, all the conversations you're having, all of the interaction, the scrolling that you're doing, all of that, you need to start shaping it in a way that says, I'm headed this direction, and all these things need to match. Because your mind is like a blank canvas. If you allow other people to paint on that canvas, it becomes their picture, right? But if you start painting on that canvas, then it becomes your picture. So be careful to know what's influencing my mind, what's being created inside here, right? What am I watching? What am I talking about? Because a lot of times we don't realize even some of the things that we're talking about are helping to fill up the kinds of things that we don't want to be a part of. And so if that's true, the reverse is true too, which is some of the things that we need to be saying and talking about will actually grow us in a different direction. Okay. So the struggle is on, and we'll take this battle, right, to answer the call. And the call is, go inside out. Make sure that you're not battling all these things and people around you and getting in some kind of mood because this situation happened over here or these things aren't going a certain way. They're not going to go a certain way. But everything that you need to start putting your life in the way that it needs to be is already inside of you. And even the skeptic will say, I don't know about that, because what if there's an earthquake, you know? And I'm going to say to you at the same time, like, I know that there will be hardship outside of us. We have a choice. We could fold when the earthquake happens, or we can do our best to keep going, right? And I want to err on that side of any kind of hardship that comes our way, but we need to be knowing inside out. We can't be watching all the outside things to figure out what it is that we're going to be doing with our lives. All right, you guys, it was good to see you. Take care. Enjoy your week. We'll talk to you soon.